It all started as a seemingly normal evening on Jimmy Fallon's set. The audience buzzed with excitement, anticipating laughs, celebrity gossip, and lighthearted banter. Conan O'Brien walked in, tall, composed, wearing his signature suit and a confident smile. Cameras rolled, the lights were bright, and everything seemed perfect. Jimmy greeted him warmly, extending his hand for a handshake. But something in Conan's expression hinted at tension beneath the surface. The first few minutes were standard. They exchanged polite jokes, talked about Conan's latest project, and the audience laughed politely. But then, Jimmy made a comment that seemed innocent on the surface, poking fun at a recent late-night feud between hosts. Conan chuckled at first, but the laughter faded from his eyes. There was a flicker of frustration, barely noticeable, but the cameras caught it. Jimmy pushed further. "Come on, Conan, everyone knows you've got the sharper jokes. Or at least you think you do," he said with a playful smirk. The audience laughed nervously, sensing the subtle edge in the tone. Conan's jaw tightened. He paused, looked directly into the camera, and then delivered a joke of his own, but it was pointed, cutting deeper than anyone expected. The room went silent for a fraction of a second before polite applause filled the air. The tension escalated quickly. Jimmy, sensing the mood shift, tried to regain control with humor, but every attempt felt like pouring fuel on a fire. Conan's responses became sharper, his tone colder, the polite facade cracking with every word. It was clear to everyone watching that this was no ordinary playful banter. The audience exchanged worried glances, and the camera panned to Jimmy, whose smile no longer reached his eyes. Conan suddenly leaned forward, voice rising slightly. "You know, Jimmy, maybe it's time we stop pretending this is just a friendly chat. Let's be honest here." The sentence hung in the air, heavy, charged, and full of unspoken resentment. Jimmy tried to interject, but Conan cut him off. The audience, now fully captivated, sat in stunned silence. You could feel the electricity of the moment, the kind that only comes when two public figures clash in real time. It was subtle at first, a war of words disguised as humor, but then the conversation turned personal. References to past shows, perceived slights, and behind-the-scenes frustrations surfaced. Jimmy attempted to laugh it off, but Conan wasn't having it. Every joke Jimmy made to lighten the mood was met with a sarcastic retort from Conan, each one more biting than the last. The tension was palpable. Conan stood up abruptly. The studio audience gasped. Jimmy froze mid-sentence. "I can't do this anymore," Conan said, his voice low but firm, echoing slightly under the studio lights. He adjusted his suit jacket, straightened his tie, and walked toward the exit. The camera followed him as he strode past, bewildered. Crew members and shocked audience members. Murmurs filled the room. Some laughed nervously. Others whispered, trying to process what had just happened. As he reached the stage exit, Conan paused and turned back, his expression unreadable. The studio lights reflected off his glasses, making his eyes look distant. "Some things are better left off camera," he said quietly, almost to himself. And then with that, he was gone. The audience erupted in a mixture of applause, laughter, and stunned silence, unsure whether to cheer for his courage or mourn the abrupt end of what was supposed to be an entertaining night. Backstage, the crew scrambled to manage the fallout. Producers whispered urgently, trying to decide whether to continue filming or cut to commercial. Jimmy stood frozen for a moment, staring at the empty stage. Finally, he laughed awkwardly, attempting to regain composure for the live broadcast. "Well, folks, that's late-night television for you," he said, voice tight, as if trying to convince himself as much as the audience. Outside the studio, social media erupted. Clips of Conan's exit went viral within minutes. Fans debated what had happened, speculating endlessly about the tension between the two hosts. Headlines popped up everywhere. "Conan walks off Fallon's show. Late-night feud turns real-time drama." What really happened behind the scenes? Memes circulated, each one capturing a frozen moment of Conan's departure. The image of his decisive walk etched into collective memory. The aftermath was messy. Interviews were scheduled, statements were issued, and the late-night landscape suddenly felt smaller, more fragile. Industry insiders whispered about unspoken grievances, rivalries, and creative tensions that had built up over years. Yet Conan didn't respond publicly for days, leaving the world to wonder if it had been a spontaneous moment of frustration or the culmination of something deeper. Eventually, late-night fans pieced together the story from subtle hints, past interactions, and behind-the-scenes gossip. Conan's decision to leave the stage became symbolic. A rare public acknowledgement that even comedy has limits, and that personal integrity can sometimes outweigh the need to entertain. The incident sparked conversations about workplace dynamics, respect, and authenticity in entertainment, far beyond the laughs of a TV audience. Weeks later, talk shows referenced the moment repeatedly. Clips of Conan's calm but firm exit were replayed with commentary, dissected and analyzed. Some saw it as an act of courage, others as an overreaction. But everyone agreed it was unforgettable. And while Conan and Jimmy eventually reconciled behind closed doors, that night remained a legendary moment in late-night history. A rare glimpse into the fragile human side of comedy. Even today, fans still talk about it. The walk-off wasn't just a departure from a stage, it was a statement, a bold reminder that behind every joke, behind every smile, there's a real person with limits, emotions, and the power to stand their ground. Conan O'Brien's exit became more than a headline. It became a lesson in confidence, self-respect, and the courage to step away when needed.